to another episode of Spiritual Superpowers. I'm Dawn, this is Caron, and today we are super excited because we are joined with Shona Lauzon from Ravenhearthealing. And Shona is a new decision therapist. We're really excited to have you, and I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
My journey really started when I went to a new decision therapy practitioner. So I was living in Toronto at the time, and I was, like, just to give you all the gory details, I dated every jerk in Toronto. Every single one. If there was a jerk, I dated him. I had a friend who had told me about new decision therapy, and I said, okay, this sounds interesting. And new decision therapy uses a process of forgiveness and compassion and understanding to help you let go of unresolved guilt, anger, and regret. As happens, I went to this practitioner, and she was amazing, and the person that I ended up needing to forgive was in fact my mother. That, and isn't it always your mother? The reason I was at the root of my relationship problems was something around my relationship with my mother. And it literally changed my life. This session where I was able to genuinely forgive my mother and let go of all this stuff that I've been carrying around all my life. It's like I unpacked all the cells, and it came out of the part of my body that had been holding on to it. And I walked home from this session, and I could see the energy in the trees next to me. I could see the life force flowing through them. Like, it's like the veil fell, and I felt alive in a way that I hadn't been before. And that really started me. I'd always been curious about energy and, you know, esoteric things. As a kid, I played with tarot cards and I did all of that, but this just opened a whole new window for me. I fell in love with a wonderful man and was able to, he was living in Caledon, and I moved up here, and I trained in new decision therapy. I trained in Reiki. I knew that I wanted to embrace this part of my life, and I was able to slow down and finally hear my own inner voice and inner wisdom, which said, you want to be a healer. You want to help people. You have this other skill over here that you've sort of put on the back burner, and this is what's really calling you. And I could finally hear it. What happens is the pain of not doing it, of not answering your calling, becomes more painful than anything else, right?
Well said.
Yeah,
oh my goodness, that is it. Like, thank you. So that was my experience. As I said, I can't not do this. I literally am so unhappy not doing it that I just took the risk and the leap, and I started my business, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy. That's good.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm finally doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
And now we get to experience some new decision therapy sessions of our own.
So can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to experience, what it's about?
Yes. So new decision therapy uses, it's a process of forgiveness and compassion that will allow you to forgive anybody from your past for anything. And the process involves muscle testing. So I use kinesiology. I'm using typically your arm to muscle test. And I do this because it's based on the concept that the body knows the truth. So we're bypassing the mind and the ego, and we're going
because there's forgiveness is really for yourself, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it takes you into a higher vibrational state.
Because guilt, anger, and regret are
lower
weighing you down.
They're very low vibration.
And people think, like, if somebody's really hurt you or injured you, we hang on to it, which is just part of survival, right? We deny it, or we stuff it down, or we just hang on to it, and we think, I'm not forgiving this person, because we think that by forgiving them that we're condoning what they did, which is not the case.
Right.
Forgiving is, as you said, Dawn, you are freeing yourself from the pain of the story about what they did. Mm-hmm. So it's really based on the understanding that you are not what happens to you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a hard thing for people, I would think. So, I mean, I would think that everyone should do this.
Yes,
right?
Everyone would benefit.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And is it, do you usually, you were talking about maybe starting with someone to lead into, is it recommended that there's more than one session? Do you find that most people benefit from a few?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in a session, we might forgive more than, we might forgive 2 or 3 depending on time and how long the individual wants to keep going. Mm-hmm. Or you would return for other sessions if we'd uncovered someone else that you were ready to forgive.
And you have that on your website, right? You've got per session, and then you also have a grouping.
Yes, like if somebody, I want to do some follow-ups.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll take a long time? We might be here all day.
Yes.
Forgiving all the people.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is you don't have to decide where to begin.
That's true.
Is
Yeah.
it surprising? Like I could think intellectually about someone that I might need to forgive, but does it usually come up that it's someone that you don't expect?
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be because we figure out what the emotion is, and I also work at the mirror, and we use the eyes to help us narrow down who it is, so we can narrow down male or female. Look at your mother in your left eye. Picture her. Imagine her that she's right here in front of you, and you're looking at her through your left eye, and hold. Okay, so looking at your mother makes you really weak. So we might start with someone that's easy for you to forgive, with some smaller issue that's easier to forgive, and then build up to forgiving this person. Or the person that you might currently be having a situation with that you need to forgive them for might be rooted in an issue with your father. And in forgiving your father, you undo all the other issues connected to it. And then you start to think, okay, maybe it's Bob, or it's Joe, or it's Susie. And then we check. Is it Bob? It's not Bob. Is it Susie? It feels like it,
yeah.
Okay, we check.
All right. I'm very
All
curious.
right. I'm curious too.
I think we're ready. And
Yeah, ready.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
let's get to it.
Great, okay.
let's forgive some people.
I know, and it feels scary, but it's actually a process that can be full of joy and release.
Yes.
Yeah, isn't that just the thought of releasing that? It's like you can breathe,
Yeah.
right? Oh,
Yeah, you don't have to carry it around anymore.
yeah, good.
All right, great.
Excellent.
Here we go.
Well, we'll keep you tuned. Well,
So we just finished our sessions with
Shona.
We did new decision therapy, and it was very interesting. It's really, I understand now that it's hard to explain until you go through it. She kind of sits down with you, asks you some questions, and then takes you over to a mirror and has you asks questions and then takes testing in order to determine what, as I call it the inner physician. That's what I was trained to call it, or your inner knowing, to get the truth, and then narrowing it down to who you need to forgive. And you found that you didn't have who you thought you would.
Right.
And that's the thing, is you can't actually know who you're going to need to forgive, or who, as Shona said, who you're ready to forgive.
Yeah.
Because there might be a few people. I know I have a few.
Yeah. I think we both have more work to do.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
I think she kind of alluded to that too. So.
Yeah, there's no like, it was lovely meeting you, you know, like
Yeah,
best of
my
luck.
work
It's more
here
like,
is done.
yeah, it's
we'll
more
see
like,
you soon.
yes. So I'm gonna keep working at it.
I think I will too. I know I will too. I think I need to do this. I mean, I feel, how do you feel right now? I felt a lightness, but at the same time, I feel like I need to go lie down.
Yeah.
Maybe
deep.
that release, right, is deep.
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta maybe to expect that, if nothing else. But you're uncovering some traumatic relationship things that you may have not thought about in a long time. So, you know, and letting go is harder than you think.
Because you're comfortable with how it is. When you let go of something, then you're different.
Yeah.
And no matter how much you wanted to, it's hard because it's unfamiliar, right?
Yeah.
I would use it, for me, as somber. I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been in therapy a long time. And you work on yourself, right? You do tons of different work. Sometimes, no matter how much you do the work, sometimes you just don't let it go. And I think that when it came to this session, I guess I just never actually let it go.
Right.
And that's what today was about.
There's awareness, but I think you have to be ready to let it go. She actually talked to me about that story about Anita Morjani. I don't know if you knew who that is, but she's a woman that had cancer, and she did all the work.
Was she the one that miraculously?
Yeah, spontaneous.
In the Heal documentary.
Right. And she was in the hospital. She was in a coma. She had tumors the size of lemons, and she had this near-death experience where she saw her father. They had they did a new decision therapy session on the other side, and he told her she had to go back. She spontaneously healed everything in 5 weeks in the hospital where they could record it all. She was being hard on herself. I've done all the work. Why isn't this happening? But I guess she really hadn't let it go.
Yeah, there's so many different layers.
Oh, there's so many
Like,
different
we
layers.
don't know how deep we need to go. And today was just another deeper layer. And you know what, when, so I only got misty-eyed. And where that hit me was when she had me repeat, I forgive you, and this is how I'm going to live my life now.
Yeah.
It was me declaring it, and then that's when like the waterworks happened, because it was the first time me saying it,
Yes.
rather than saying it with hopes of being
Ah,
reciprocated and
Right.
with approval.
yeah.
So that was a big thing for me. Yeah, I really enjoyed the session.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely recommend it to
Oh, yes.
people. You know,
So,
forgiveness is tough,
yeah.
and I always thought I was pretty good at it, but like I said, we said deeper layers, and I think this was just one of those really deep child wounds.
Well, for me, I can intellectually forgive someone. I realize
Yes.
the intellectual forgiveness happens, but there's the emotional forgiveness.
And that's
And
what I
that's
needed
another-
today too. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, and touching on the point where, you know, we're trying lots of things and doing lots of things, and you've done therapy for a long time, understanding that we always have something to work on. This is a lifelong journey, right? So, and not expecting yourself to, it's going to take time. And if you don't get there like that, that's okay. And not to have any judgment on that. That's another thing that she said.
Yeah.
Don't think you have to rush
Which can be
getting
tough.
to the other side of all
Yeah.
these issues.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time. You know, we develop these wounds and feelings over time, and it take time to release them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you might need to release them a couple of times. There's layers.
How would our viewers get in touch with you if they wanted to reach out for some of your treatments?
So they can definitely reach me by email, which is ravenhearthealing@gmail.com, or visit my website, ravenhearthealing.ca or .com. And I have, if they want to know more about me, I also offer a free 20 to 30 minute consultation call where we just talk and find out what they're interested in or what their needs are, and just make sure we're a good fit. And I'm happy to do that too.
Great. And we will be sure to include that information in the description below.
That you enjoyed the episode.
Yep, so subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you like this video, hit the like button.